Hello everyone and welcome to another Jurassic Park video. Today's video is another special treat because I have a special guest rejoining me today. For those of you who don't know, he's a fellow YouTuber who has made many Jurassic Park videos. He's someone who has the same passion for the Jurassic Park franchise that I do, and you know what they say, great minds think alike. Returning for another exciting Jurassic Park discussion, I present to you Mr. Klayton Fioriti. Welcome back, Klayton. It's great to have you back.
Hey, what's going on, Jeremy? It's fun to be back. Can't wait to talk about this one.
Yeah, I think you're going to like this one. So, everyone knows that the things that Jurassic Park's most famous for are the dinosaurs. You know, dinosaurs chasing people, eating people, causing chaos. It's all about the dinosaurs. And some might say that they're the villains of the movies. Now, I can see that, but what people don't often talk about are the human villains of the Jurassic Park movies. And we've got a lot of those. You know, we've had Dennis Nedry, Peter Ludlow, Hoskins. Like I said, people don't often talk about the human villains, so I want to have a discussion with you to sort of figure out who the best villain in the Jurassic Park series is. Now, when I say the greatest villain, I mean who had the best master plan, who was the biggest threat to the protagonists, who was the most detestable character all around. Sort of put all that together and we can kind of figure out who the greatest villain in the series is. So what do you think? You think you're up to it?
Yeah, this is a really difficult question because we've got, as far as I'm concerned, three really, really bad people. As far as Peter Ludlow, Vic Hoskins, Dennis Nedry goes, none of them have any really, I guess you could say, redeeming qualities. You could argue Peter Ludlow was just doing his job, but at the same time he had to screw over his uncle,
right?
In order. So it's a difficult question. I mean, let's start with Dennis Nedry.
Yeah, he's probably the first person that anybody thinks of when we think of Jurassic Park villains. Yes, Dennis Nedry's the first person that comes to mind.
Totally, and first of all, our first depiction of him is he's slovenly. He's a slob.
Yep.
He's, sitting around eating at that buffet, just guzzling down food while this guy walks up to him and hands him just a ton of cash in this briefcase. And he's laughing, yucking it up, and ends up putting shaving cream on someone else's pie.
A poor person who ate that pie.
Yeah, it's terrible. He's just a dick. And you can totally tell that he's, number one, he's disgusting. He's a slob. He doesn't take care of himself. But he's also extremely greedy. He doesn't care about anyone else's well-being. And during the film, you kind of get to see that when he shuts the power off of the park. Now, he wasn't completely dumb. He did end up, making sure that the raptor fences didn't go out. But I'm pretty sure that was just for his own safety.
Yes,
and not
really. Even he wouldn't be able to get past that.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, Dennis Nedry is just such a bad person, but when you really look at it from a standpoint of, hey, okay, so he tried some industrial espionage, whatever, but it's like, whoa, he put all the visitors in danger. He put every one of his coworkers in danger. Children, Lex and Tim, they could have been killed by like anything.
Yeah,
and
like
it's
the results of the consequences of his actions were so severe. And it's like he didn't care that all that was happening.
He just wanted money.
But the funny thing about that is that some people would argue that, I agree that Dennis Nedry's a big scumbag, but some people would argue that he's a relatable person because the reason why he did that was because he felt that he wasn't being paid what he felt he deserved to be paid. He felt that John Hammond was a greedy, selfish boss, and Nedry wanted more money, and then Dodgson offered him more money. So he said, okay, whoever pays me more, I'll go with.
Yeah, and I think that that's another thing with this character that a lot of people have kind of latched onto and said, well, hey, man, if he was truly being screwed over, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, he had a very important job that
yes.
he should have been taken care of, but I never took it as... I get the sympathy for Nedry as a normal human being, but I never took it like he wasn't being paid well because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the exact amount of money he was paid. I'm not sure that it's ever been disclosed, but number one, he's doing this super secret project in the middle of or off the Costa Rican coast and cloning dinosaurs and making sure that they're safe and behind secured fences and stuff is not a cheap operation.
Right.
Now, maybe they skimped out on his pay, but I don't see how he would complain But Ray Arnold and Henry Wu and even Muldoon complained, but not about pay. He was just pissed off about safety. Yeah, so I mean, I just Nedry was always the one that he was like, this guy, he's greedy, and I mean, I get the relatability, but to me personally, like, if anyone should have been bitching, it would have been Arnold for having to fix all the bullshit that Dennis wired into the system,
the headlights, the doors.
I just think that. Or possibly Wu. Who knows how many dinosaurs died before one of them was viable? But Nedry. I just he's a bad guy. I would not like to sit down and talk to this man. I would not be smiling.
And you know what the big kicker about Nedry is? The fact that he said that he bid for the job. So if he's complaining about his pay, he basically chose to have that pay because he bid that price for the job.
Exactly. It's his decision what he was getting paid. Now, granted, I'm sure he didn't expect there to be actual living dinosaurs, but...
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like, dude, it's your fault. I mean, if I went up to someone, I was like, hey, will you pay me $5 million? And they were like, yeah, okay, here you go. Here's $5 million. And then we learn, like, hey, they're actually, you could have, asked for like $100 million. Well, it's like, it's not really Hammond's fault. It's, I mean, he asked you, like, what did you want?
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Dennis Nedry. I mean, I guess he's going to be the one that people really go to and are like, he's a villain. But I mean, the other guys are pretty bad too. I mean, both Hoskins and Ludlow. Ludlow was always the one that got under my skin more than Nedry.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Ludlow.
Yeah, I mean, like, Ludlow was just a snob.
Yeah, he just not only is he like a scumbag who cares about nothing but making sure that he gets higher up the corporate ladder, his uncle, his own blood, a man who wanted nothing but to show the world these awesome and amazing creatures that he'd cloned and everything. It's disturbing that Ludlow so quickly threw him under the bus and was like, "No,
God, yeah."
It was like, wow, dude, what the hell? And you could tell
they weren't in it for the same reasons. Like, Hammond wasn't in it out of greed. He literally wanted to bring smiles to people's faces. But Ludlow, he just cared about making money and climbing the corporate ladder.
Yeah, and that's it. I hate Ludlow, and I always love when the Lost World starts out on the island, where Roland looks over to him and puts him in his place, and he's like, "Look, I'm in charge of this operation."
Oh,
little
we'll get to
shit.
Roland. We'll get to him.
But I mean, Ludlow, I can't stand him. He's everything. Now he's probably more of the archetypal villain, I guess. He's more of the stereotypical, I guess you could say, bigwig,
greedy
grubby,
boss.
yeah. But he never came off as cliche to me. He always came off as, I don't want to use the word realistic. I want to use the word, it just made sense. It made sense that if Hammond is surrounded by all of these people who he does have to answer to, I mean, he has to make sure that he is returning a profit for all these people. And they obviously lost a lot of money with Jurassic Park. And I can understand from a fiscal responsibility that Ludlow may have to provide for the company and for the people that are employed by it. But he was doing it in a way that was totally unorthodox. It's just, we've already talked about it's his blood, it's his uncle, but also to flat out go to the island and take all the dinosaurs and bring them back to San Diego like it's, there's the whole environmentalist section of the Lost World where they are handling the dinosaurs pretty poorly. Dieter's zapping them with a cattle prod. But I mean, Ludlow he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's just, I feel like he and Nedry, or you know what's a really good point? Ludlow would probably be the kind of sleazebag to pay the sleazebag that is Dennis Nedry.
Absolutely.
To steal the embryos.
Yes, I agree 100%. The thing I think about Ludlow, though, is that while he was a scumbag and, typical corporate snob and all that stuff, I don't think he was that much of a threat of a character in terms of executing his plan, I think. Because Roland put him right in his place, like you said. Roland wasn't going to let him push him around.
Yeah, Ludlow was never an intimidating sort.
No,
he
that's
always
the
had
word,
other
intimidating.
people. Yeah, he always had other people do his job for him.
Yes.
And I think that, I mean, don't get me wrong, he hired a lot of great badasses, but he is not a Darth Vader. He's more of a Watto or something.
Yeah, I just think overall, I think Ludlow was, greedy snob. But yeah, like you said, he was not an intimidating person. So
No,
in terms, like he would be the greedy person to pay off the other greedy person
to beat you up or do something. Yeah.
I think that's the general impression I get from Ludlow, and but his death was very satisfying to watch. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, totally. I love that part of the film. John Williams' score flares up and the baby jumps down on him. That's great. It's perfect.
I kind of mentioned this in another video I made. I think his death is kind of symbolic because it's kind of like saying take that to, greedy people.
Oh yeah, I could totally see that. I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for, especially by having him not die by a bullet or something falling on him. But the dinosaurs are actually the ones that kill him.
The ones that he thought he had control over because he thought he owned them ended up, killing him.
I wish they'd left that scene where Ludlow fell on the baby's leg because it would have made a great metaphor for the adult Rex biting his leg and like dropping it. It would have been great,
and it would have given us more reason to hate him.
Oh, totally. Yeah, not that he didn't have. Well, actually, they did cut out a lot of the motivation to truly hate Ludlow,
like that the boardroom scene. They cut that
right. Yeah, I mean they did a good job setting it up, and that's actually the longest scene in the film that has no cuts is when Ludlow walks down the stairs and talks to Malcolm while he's signing the new paperwork. It's like it goes on for over a minute.
Oh yeah,
but and it lays down what happened after the events of Jurassic Park, and you already get a sense that he's a piece of shit. But it wasn't really elaborated on until you get to the island, and you're like, oh, this guy, he's talking about moving the animals to San Diego. But
it gave us an idea, though. Like it gave us an idea because he was very dismissive of all of Malcolm's claims, thinking,
oh, he was flat out lying.
You're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they really did in the unedited version of the film. They really did hit home that how much of a dick he truly was. But in the version that we got, the theatrical cut or whatever it's called, the final cut of the movie, I guess you don't really hate him as much as I guess you would hate Nedry.
Right. I think one of Ludlow's biggest dick moves that he did was in the boardroom scene that was cut from the movie. Because when he raised his hand to vote to remove Hammond from the board, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was like smirking when he did.
Yeah, he was.
That's your own uncle, and you're happy to basically give him the boot? Like, what a dick.
Yeah, well, he was the one that called for the, hey, we need to get rid of this guy. Yeah, he's what's holding us back. Which, I mean, he looks like the hero to, the boardroom of investors who are got all this money invested into the thing that might, go broke. But to everyone else, oh my God, can you imagine what Hammond thought? It's like, you little ass.
Oh my God, he probably disowned him.
I don't blame him. I mean, honestly, he probably didn't even care. Lex
I don't
and
even
Tim,
think he mentioned him in the movie at all. I don't recall.
No, he said the board. He never said. He never mentioned, my nephew. But Ludlow did mention my uncle in the boardroom scene. Even Lex and Tim in that scene, they were like staying away from him. They were like, "Yeah, this is the black sheep of the family."
Yeah. It's like, I don't like this guy. So the next character I want to talk about, it's very debatable as to whether he's a villain or not, and that's Roland Tembo.
Yeah, Roland Tembo. I could see where people can come across as him being a full-fledged villain.
I mean, I've seen it's kind of he's a very complex character. He's not the typical villain, but he's not a typical hero either. I think that he displays many antagonistic qualities because he's technically going against what the protagonists of the movie are doing. Malcolm's team is there to research and Roland's there to hunt. In that regard, you can see that he's a villain in that way. But at the same time, he wasn't letting Ludlow push him around, and he did show care for Sarah and Kelly.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing about Roland is he's an incredibly well written character, but he's also, and again this scene was cut out of the film, the bar fight.
Yes,
in
I love
Mombasa.
that scene.
It's incredible. I don't know what they were thinking cutting that out of the movie, but to talk about that, when he sees someone getting pushed around and taken advantage of, that really shouldn't be happening, especially while she's working. The poor waitress. He goes over there and he knocks the shit out of the guy, and it's other things like that happen throughout the film. He's obviously very vocal about making sure Kelly doesn't know that Dieter went missing.
Right, because that was scary.
Yeah, he's like, we don't need a worried girl, but also making sure that Sarah's okay when he sees the blood on her shirt. And Roland was not someone who would like people being pushed around who shouldn't be. Roland was very abrupt with Ludlow. He was like, "Look, dude, if you want me here, he's like, I'm in charge.
When I'm not around, Dieter is."
Exactly, and he puts Dieter in his place when all the dinosaurs get loose. He's like, "That's the last time you're in charge."
Yeah.
Now, he possesses a lot of great heroic qualities in terms of leadership.
Yes, everyone followed him. They trusted him.
And he got everyone to safety, more or less, at the end of the film, even though, bad stuff happened where right before they were supposed to scale the edge of the thing that led into the, the worker village. Yeah, right before that happened, all hell broke loose. But he led them to safety. The problem, or I don't know if I should say a problem, the thing about Roland's character is he's not with the Gatherer's side. He's hired muscle to organize a hunting party to get all the dinosaurs off of the island. Now, Roland... here's the thing. Roland never did anything truly heinous unless some people want to believe that, and it makes sense if they don't know that Ludlow broke the baby's leg.
Right, yeah, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, so I mean, if they think that he's the one that broke the baby's leg, and he did take the baby away from the nest, but it's kind of like, I've always viewed that as not really evil quality. That's more of a, and this is the whole debatable thing about the Lost World and any movie back then. It's an environmental issue with the dinosaurs and their protection and stuff like that, and disturbing the ecosystem. But with Roland, he's there solely for the purpose to kill the male tyrannosaur. And I mean, I don't really see him as being any different in terms of character than someone like Eddie Carr, who, he had a weapon ready to kill any dinosaur with a poison dart immediately. And I think that they're kind of the ones that play off each other the most. I think it just, at the end of the day, it went along with whose side are you on that's set off to the island. I think Roland and Malcolm would probably be quite... I think that they would like each other quite a lot. I'm not so sure about Roland and Van Owen.
No, absolutely not.
They pretty clearly don't like each other.
You're that Earth-first bastard, aren't you?
Yeah. It's so funny, though. It's like, I think Roland tolerated Van Owen way more than Van Owen tolerated Roland. Or I don't want to say tolerated Roland.
I see where you're going.
He
like, Roland wasn't a hateable guy. Even when I was a kid, I never hated the guy.
No, because he's just too damn likable. Like, everything he does is he's the Lost World's Muldoon.
Yes.
I think he might be better than Muldoon in a few situations as far as success goes. Because he did actually take down the T-Rex. And
he's
Muldoon
had adventures.
Yeah, totally.
And that's why I like him as a character. I mean, I think he's the personification of man's desire for adventure.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I think that when it comes to Tembo's qualities, I think they kind of balance each other out. So I guess you can say he's more or less a neutral character. He's not full good, but he's not full evil. He's just in the middle.
Yeah, because he leaves totally. He's not a part of the end of the movie. He does show complete remorse when Ajay is killed.
Yes, and I think that's where he kind of leaned towards more the good side, because he was definitely against the villain, which was Ludlow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He makes that clear where he's like, "Hey, I've got a job for you in San Diego if you want." And
No, thank
he
you.
has that great line. That great line. I believe I've spent enough time in the company of death.
Yes.
I just love that. I love that. And leaves, and it's actually quite sad. I always felt bad for his hunting partner getting killed. And
Yeah, I mean, Roland was such a great character, and like I felt like he was this. I don't want to say unstoppable force, but he had a presence. I think he had a presence on like any character in that movie. And then just at the end of and then when it's time for him to go, he's like broken.
Yeah, it's sad. He's truly a character that was done with hunting. He was bored of life, and
Because
when
nothing left to
Ajay,
do.
yeah, he'd done it all. He was just hanging out at a bar, and then when Ajay brought him back into this thing, he had this great thrill of going there, and he ended up, having some antagonistic qualities against other people that were trying to prevent him from doing his job. And he tried to, at the end of it all, lead them all to safety. He's the hand that pulls Sarah Harding up after they fall over the thing. Other people would have cut the rope or, something like... Yeah, exactly. Like, assholes, you guys destroyed our whole operation. But, Roland lifted her up and he took everyone down. He made sure everyone was safe and quiet. Now, he didn't take any shit, but he made sure they all got there. And I always felt bad for Roland. Poor Ajay getting killed. He was just like, wow, now I got to go back to drinking alone in my bar.
And speaking of bar, just before I wrap up with Roland, I think now that I think about it, the reason maybe why they cut that bar scene was because it would make the viewers like Roland too much.
Yeah, I think so.
Like maybe he'd be portrayed more or less a hero, you could say, but their intention was to maybe portray him in a different light.
Yeah, I think that I think it was cut for two reasons. I think the first one is the one you went over. They didn't want the audience to really root for him. They kind of, which I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes him look heroic. It made him look more like a badass each time I saw it. But also because, oh God, I just forgot what I was going to say. They cut it because, he already had such a great introduction. We're putting Ludlow in his place.
Yeah, with that monologue in the car.
Oh, it's incredible. But I mean, I think that was the two reasons that they cut it out. The problem with cutting it out, though, was poor Ajay getting sidelined because Ajay has some great scenes in that little bar.
Yeah, it kind of established the relationship between the two and their friendship.
Yeah, I've never understood why they've made so many cuts to The Lost World, but yeah, I agree. I think that having him as too likable would have kind of. Or I think they would have viewed it as getting in the way of who's the bad guys, who's the good guys. I personally love gray areas in film. I think that it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, very complex character, and that's great to have.
Van Owen is the same. He's a very complex character who they don't reveal yet that he's actually an environmentalist until after they start catching the dinosaurs, and his whole thing against Roland was so fun. I love that aspect of The Lost World. I wish more films tackled that in the series, personally.
So, based on what we talked about for Roland, I don't think that he's the greatest villain in the series, unfortunately. He's an awesome character, very well written, very complex, but in terms of being a villain, I don't think he's the greatest.
No. Greatest badass, probably.
Yes, absolutely.
Greatest villain, no.
So here's an interesting question as I go into the next character here. Would you say that Paul and Amanda Kirby are villains or not?
I've heard this before. You know what? Kind of. You never look at them as evil people. They're not evil people.
No.
Like let's get real. They're not bad guys. Now, they love their son. They're trying to find their son, and that's all they wanted admirable.
To do. That's all they wanted to do. They went about it in a scumbag way, lying to Grant about, paying him money, and then why he's on the flight. But
knock him out.
Yeah, knocking him out. Yeah, but their motives were honest. They just wanted to rescue their son. I mean, what parent wouldn't want to go to any lengths to rescue their kid?
I feel like if you want to call Paul and Amanda Kirby villains, that's the same type of that's the same type of people that probably want to call Nick Van Owen a villain.
Okay.
I don't view either of them as villains.
I don't
they
either. No.
They do some things that are questionable, and not everyone's perfect. We all have problems, and we all do things that aren't completely admirable. But I disagree that any of the three are. I don't think Billy's a villain for taking the raptor eggs.
No, he just made a stupid choice.
Yeah, and it's like Nick Van Owen made a stupid choice. Ultimately, he let his environmental protection go a little bit too far when he took the rounds out of
and he's
yeah, exactly. And ultimately, that's what kind of led to the San Diego incident. It was that little butterfly effect. But he's not evil. He's not an evil person. Paul and Amanda Kirby are not evil people. They're actually very loving people for their son. I actually really like that aspect of the third movie. I've never understood why people. I guess because Jurassic Park 3 doesn't have a villain, so I guess they kind of. I could see where they would twist it somehow to make some sort of drama over it, but they're not bad.
They're not bad people. I don't think they're villains in the least bit. It's just it happened to be an argument I came across online, and I thought, maybe I might as well address it. But yeah, I don't think they're villains in the least bit. They're just they're loving parents that made a couple of little hiccups along the way, but all in the effort to rescue their son.
Right. Yeah. That's about how I look at it.
Okay, so now we come to Jurassic World, and this one's a special one because it gave us a couple villains here. First of all, it hit us out of nowhere with Dr. Wu being a villain, and it also gave us Vic Hoskins, who I think is the greatest villain in the series. Now, I'm going to talk about why I think so later, but I want to hear your take. What do you think of Vic Hoskins?
Okay, Hoskins is he's a pretty stereotypical military-style villain that we would see in movies like Atlantis.
Okay, yeah.
The Disney movie Atlantis. Yeah. Whereas, Roland would be, I guess, more like Klayton from Tarzan, only not nearly as bad.
Yeah.
But, okay, so we're talking about Hoskins, who wants to use the Raptors specifically for military purposes and is doing some shady shit behind the scenes and is actually... He's reveling in the Indominus being this successful at killing and destroying because it says, hey, looks like this is a good thing for us to advance with, whatever his plans may be. We don't really know just yet, but...
I don't know if we ever will now that he's dead.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, Hoskins, he's a pretty intimidating villain, I think, more than Ludlow and probably more than Nedry because
I think so.
Hoskins... He's a pretty bad dude. He's an asshole, and he is kind of greedy as well. I mean, he not so much in the sense for money, more of
just personal gain.
Yeah, this is what we're going to do. This is why you were invited here, Owen Grady. This is why we're going to basically train these raptors, and if they don't obey, we're going to kill them. And he's stupid for thinking that too. Now,
that they're going to be so loyal to him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's completely evil. He does have a couple of redeeming qualities where he talked about rescuing the wolf, and
that's a good point.
Unshakable bond that he had with it. But it's a very skewed perception of these animals, and it's not. I think the best answer was what Owen Grady said. You come here to learn about these animals, and I forget the line. He said,
"You only want to know what you want to know."
Yeah, so it's like you're not really learning. You're just trying to see. Yeah, you're trying to see what they can do for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I feel like Hoskins, he'll go behind your back. He'll do shit. I mean, he'll go behind your back, but he'll fucking tell you he's about to do it.
Oh yeah, and then when he did do it, when he walked onto the control room floor, just flashed his ID, InGen. Mm-hmm. Everyone just dropped and just stopped what they were doing. It's like, oh my god, this guy's come to take over.
Yep, and he was well organized, much more than nearly all the other ones. He's more intimidating than Ludlow, more devious than I would say. Definitely the Kirbys or Roland or anyone like that. He's a legitimate villain. As far as evil.
How about this? Remember when the pteranodons were attacking the park? When he walked onto the helipad, he seemed to be enjoying the fact that there was chaos going on in Jurassic World.
Oh, wow, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, he did. He actually walked all the way up there and just looked at it.
And he smiled.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He is kind of an asshole.
And that to me, it's like he doesn't have any regard for
human life.
Yeah, he doesn't have regard for human life because, like, I think he's so caught up in his plans that he doesn't care about whatever happens along the way. If innocent people get killed, if it means me accomplishing my goal at the end, that's all I care about. That's the kind of vibe I get from him.
And that was another point where the Indominus breaks into the bird cage, and he's like, "Someone let the rooster out in the hen house, or the fox in the hen house."
Yeah. Like, he didn't care. Like, it's like, do you know what's going to happen now?
He was kind of impressed by it. He was like, "Look at this," and he grabbed that guy's drink.
Yeah, like, what an asshole! He takes somebody's drink.
Yeah, he is a dick, and he was kind of slovenly. That was a very Nedry quality.
He did, yeah. He is reminiscent of Nedry in that regard. I think the difference between him and Nedry is that he's not relatable. Mm-hmm. Like, he's very militaristic. Very, I don't want to say greedy, but very selfish, I think.
Yeah, he's already chosen what he wants to happen, and he's not going to listen to anybody else. And he's just like, "Look, I want this to happen. We're going to use these raptors. Yeah, this is going to happen. We're going to use these raptors, and that's why we're doing all this. And fuck everyone else. You guys can all die. We're getting this take."
To me, it's partly because of those qualities that I'd argue that Vic Hoskins is the greatest villain in the series. The reasons I think so are that he's very aggressive, very selfish, and doesn't care what happens as long as he accomplishes his goals. And he has this thing about enjoying chaos. Like we said, he was enjoying the Indominus Rex's rampage, and he didn't care that people were dying along the way. He seems to relish in chaos, and we never really got that from the other villains. He had no respect for nature, more specifically the raptors, which is a common theme in the series, as we know, and he was delusional, thinking he could actually control them just because he owned them. It didn't take long for me to dislike this guy. He was just brimming with arrogance, and to me, I just think he's the total package in terms of being a villain.
That's a really good point, because when you talk about Nedry and you talk about Ludlow, you got the sense that they were actual, as terrible people as they were human. They were doing something that humans often do. Not saying Hoskins wasn't. I'm not trying to make him sound like an alien or something. But Hoskins was devoid of sympathy to anyone. Ludlow did truly care about the people he kind of worked for. I mean, you could tell he was quite happy with what Roland did. He would have given Roland a job.
Yeah, like he cared about his associates, even though he wasn't very good at handling them, I guess you can say.
Right. And Nedry, I mean, even though, look, Nedry didn't give a damn about anybody in Jurassic Park. He just wanted money. But, I mean, Nedry is someone, I feel like everyone in the world has met someone like Dennis Nedry.
Yes.
Like, we've all met someone that's like him. So, I mean, you're like, he's human. When he falls down the thing and he's like, "I can't find my glasses," and he's like laughing.
More glasses.
Yeah, he's laughing at the Dilophosaurus that's, looking at him from behind the tree, and he's like, "That's nice, gotta go." You're like, all right, this guy, I know a few people who are like him, as much as an asshole he may be. But I mean, I guess you have a point. Now, Hoskins is a pretty bad dude. Like, granted, I could see him in a similar position of Roland, where maybe he could have been, if it was any other job, maybe he would have been a very useful tool in getting something done.
Well, Vic Hoskins, actually, he rounded up the Pteranodons at the end of Jurassic Park 3. If you go to the Jurassic World website, it talks a bit about it. And if you remember the Jurassic World Lego set with the T-Rex, it's kind of like a scene where, it comes with Vic Hoskins, it comes with a big car, and it comes with some AC, or comes with, I think it's ACU guys, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But you can kind of piece it together that Hoskins organized the recapture of Rexy.
Yeah, that's actually that's another thing that's on the website too, is that he captured Rexy in 2002, I believe.
Yes, he stared a 7-ton predator in the eye. I remember the diary entry.
Yeah, and so I mean, he has some redeeming qualities towards him. He's definitely a capable human being in operations systems, but and I already brought up the wolf pup thing, but Hoskins is an intimidating force, far different from Nedry and Ludlow. Hoskins will punch you in the face. Hoskins does not care if you live or if you die, even though in his dying monologue, he does. Like, I don't think he would have taken a gun out and shot Owen.
No.
He does try to, like, explain himself. He's like, look, we've been given this gift of protection from nature. So don't get me wrong, bad person, right? Evil son of a bitch, or maybe not evil, but bad son of a bitch. But he's bad. I understand a little bit where he's coming from. I guess it would be an interesting application. I mean, don't get me wrong, if something could camouflage and hide its heat signature and actually go in and eat the bad guys, hey, that's cool.
That's a good point that you brought up, because I just remembered something. I think that Hoskins has no idea of the implications of his own plans. Remember Owen said, I think it was a deleted scene in Jurassic World, Owen said, "This isn't a good idea, especially if it works."
Yeah, because he doesn't. It's the same problem that all Jurassic Park movies go over, and it's man's folly of control over these ancient beasts. They don't get it. Like you can't control them.
No,
there's no way that we're going to be able to organize some sort of genetic hybrid to drop it off somewhere and do what we want it to do when it's that smart. It's
just not going to fly.
Right. And, obviously Hoskins is not sympathetic to any of his, I wouldn't even call them enemies. Barry and Owen were working with him. He didn't give a shit. I mean, when all the men got killed, he was like, oh, damn. He didn't really care. He was just like, well, there goes my guys. All right, get on the helicopter. Yeah, I can see the argument for him being the greatest villain in the series.
Yeah, that's what I think anyway, in terms of greatest villain for me. But there's one more person we got to tackle, and that's Dr. Wu, the newest villain in the series. It was revealed at the end of Jurassic World that he was working with Hoskins, and just want to hear your thoughts about Dr. Wu being a villain, in particular because he's been around since the first movie.
Yeah, okay, so Dr. Wu being a villain is one of my favorite aspects of the newest film, Jurassic World, because I didn't see it coming.
No, me either.
When you see Dr. Wu in Jurassic Park, he's just doing his job. He's cloning these animals. He's obviously very happy at the success that he has in working with Jurassic Park.
Yep.
You switch over to Jurassic World, and you kind of get a hint that he's going too far. Once you get to the conversation with Masrani, where he's like, "I never wanted a monster," and he's like,
"Monster's a relative term."
Yeah, he's got a pretty valid point. I mean, it's like, this is what you asked for, man. Now we know that it was, there was a little other stuff that was thrown in there for good measure.
And he was quite impressed to hear about that. Like, when I think it said it hid from thermal technology, it can camouflage. He's like, really? Like, he's like, oh my God, it can do that? That's awesome. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with Wu, is that I struggle to call him evil. Okay. Because I just don't think he's truly a mustache twirling guy. I do think that he's got some stuff that he definitely needs to answer to, but I ultimately think it's a quality of, oh, this guy's got the Dr. Frankenstein problem, where he's making this stuff that he's just so ambitious and so in love with, similar to, I don't know if you've seen the film Alien Resurrection.
I don't think I have. Resurrection?
Okay, well, there's a character in Alien Resurrection played by Brad Dourif, who is like a scientist who has cloned an alien. Long story short, he's very in love with the animals, and they end up cocooning him at the end of the movie, and he's like, "You're a beautiful, beautiful butterfly," talking about the aliens, and eventually one of the aliens comes and kills him. But that's kind of how I view Dr. Wu, is like, he is a very... he does love these dinosaurs. I have no doubt about that in my mind. He loves creating these, and he's very ambitious, and he's created everything. But he, like, at the end of the day, there is this suggestion that, hey, maybe they're taking care of him financially. Because he gets on that plane, he's like, "Where's Hoskins?" And he's like, "Don't worry, you'll be taken care of." And they get him out of there, and he did go behind some people's backs. He's obviously doing something with the Indoraptor and Fallen Kingdom.
Yes, absolutely.
He might end up being a really terrible guy, but as far as I can show, or as far as I can tell with my information on him from the novel and from the film so far, too ambitious. Just too ambitious without any respect for the animals that he's trying to control. Again, the breeding thing in Jurassic Park. these animals can't breed. You're thinking that population comprised entirely of female animals will breed. Of course not. I made sure that they couldn't do that, and then what do? They end up breeding.
Because he didn't take the steps to, he got too caught up in his work and didn't pay attention to the finer details, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. I think that Wu's villainous qualities are just his lack of respect for what he's dealing with. I think that, which will ultimately lead in his downfall, because he is responsible for the deaths that surround the Indominus Rex to some degree. So,
how about this? I remember a line that he said in Jurassic World: "All of this exists because of me." So I think about every Jurassic Park movie, every dinosaur, every death, the Jurassic Park incident, the San Diego incident, all of that. You could say in a way that Dr. Wu is responsible for all those incidents because he created the dinosaurs in the first place. Which brings me back to the quote that I just mentioned: "All of this exists because of me."
That's an interesting point to make, because it's technically true. He cloned all of these animals. He's the one that made sure that they all hatched out of the eggs and survived infancy. So I could see where people are coming from. I think that might be an extreme burden to put on his character, but ultimately he is the beginning. He's the catalyst for the chaos that surrounds Jurassic Park. So that's an interesting point that I never really thought of before.
So now that we've kind of talked about all of the big players, the big villains in the Jurassic Park movies, who would you say, in your opinion, is the greatest Jurassic Park villain?
God, this is such a hard question to nail down, because I guess it goes along a little bit or how we personally view evil or bad people.
That's true.
Nedry, I can understand people picking him immediately. Ludlow would probably be my pick at first. Now we're talking about Hoskins. Hoskins was a truly bad dude. And I think that it's coming down for me. Wu is out of the equation. I don't think Wu is the greatest villain, even though I can see where people are coming from. But for my personal mind, if I had to pick one person as the greatest villain, it's weird. I'm going to say Ludlow.
Okay.
I think that's who I'm going to say, and it's odd because I understand some of what Ludlow was doing, but I don't think Hoskins had the money or budget to really. Well, maybe he did. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Well, damn, hold on a minute. Maybe I'm going to choose Hoskins. Let's see. In reality, I don't know. I think I might have to pick Ludlow, actually.
Okay.
I'll go with Ludlow as my final answer.
Sure. I can definitely see where you're coming from about Ludlow being the greatest villain. I mean, he did have those qualities that made him that despicable character.
Yeah, he's the one that's always rubbed me the wrong way more than anyone else. Now, granted, Hoskins is still pretty fresh. He's pretty new, and he's pretty bad. So for me, it came down between Ludlow and Hoskins. Nedry's bad. Wu he's not the greatest. Paul and Amanda Kirby, nah, they're not bad. Yeah. But yeah, I just for me, I gotta say Ludlow. I'd be lying if I didn't pick Ludlow.
Hey, that's cool.
Out of curiosity, who was your second pick?
Second pick? Ooh,
yeah,
that's a tough one. I would have to say, I think I would have to say, oh my god, that's a tough one. For me, I think Ludlow would be my second pick, with Nedry coming short by a very, very thin line.
Yeah, I think that they're all pretty bad. It was pretty close between all of them for me, because Hoskins and Nedry do share a lot of similar physical attributes and qualities, I guess you could say. But yeah, for me, what made the cut for Ludlow was just that it was his uncle. It was just, come on, dude, your own family.
He did that to his own family, yeah. Like I actually, before I even made this topic of discussion, I was thinking about it. I had these 4 pictures of villains I was looking at Nedry, Ludlow, Paul Kirby, and Hoskins, and I was thinking, I was thinking about going towards the direction of Ludlow just because of the things he did with his family and the lack of respect he had for nature. But I just think that Hoskins I just think Hoskins is more of a dislikable guy, very selfish, very, very out of touch with the reality of his ambition.
I think Hoskins, the first thing I think of when I think of like a quality that's negative is the fact that you could say anything you want and he's not going to listen.
Yeah, so he's set in his ways.
Yeah, like he's made his mind up. He's just like, yeah, we're doing this. So he's pretty bad.
So there you have it, guys. I think that Vic Hoskins is the greatest villain in the Jurassic Park series, and Klayton believes that Ludlow is the greatest villain in the Jurassic Park series. But how about you guys? Who do you think is the greatest villain in the Jurassic Park series? Talk about it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. We thank you for watching this video. We hope you had fun. I recommend you guys take a look at Klayton Fioriti's channel. He's got lots of great Jurassic Park content on there. I recommend that you subscribe to him because he's got a lot of great stuff on there. And I'd love it if you could subscribe to me too. I want to thank you again, Klayton, for being here today. I had a lot of fun.
Hey, I really appreciate coming on again, Jeremy. It was awesome, and I really appreciate the kind words and shout-out. Yeah, guys, I've had a really fun time being here. See you guys later.
As I wrap up for today, I'd like to tell you about DinosaurDetector.com, where you can find all kinds of dinosaur merchandise, such as figures, toys, t-shirts, and the aptly named Dinosaur Detector mug. Watch out for ripples. There's something here for any dinosaur lover, and for a limited time, if you go to the website and use the code Prutchick, you'll get 10% off your purchase. Every little bit helps. Check it out. See you next time, guys.